they're making, and I don't hate it. I just wish there were two Ben Kaspariuses.
Well, maybe Bobby Miller becomes Ben Kasparius. And the only reason I say that is because maybe the mentality of Bobby Miller is better served as a guy that can just take all of that adrenaline and doesn't have time to think like you do when you're a starter. Yeah. Maybe it's best for Bobby Miller to become a bullpen arm to where he only has to worry about three guys or a couple of innings or whatever it is. Maybe his mental mindset is better suited for. Remember, I wanted Dustin May in the bullpen. I'm still not saying I wouldn't, but we can't because we definitely need starting arms. But maybe Bobby Miller, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that gets him an opportunity to come back to the big leagues. And he doesn't, like, as a reliever, you don't have time to think. You don't have time to settle in. You just take your best stuff and you hope, you throw strikes and you shove and you pray for the best.
For Bobby Miller, I'm fully on board with this idea because it's apparent now. It's painfully apparent. I don't want to say I love the kid. I appreciate that he is one of the available arms on the 40-man roster that is healthy. But he's not a starting pitcher. He hasn't been a starting pitcher. He should never have really been a starting pitcher. The experiment, they've tried it. It did not work. Right now, his best path to potentially helping this ball club out at the big league level is as a one-inning guy. You offset the loss of Kasparius in the bullpen. You at AAA, I'm not saying immediately bring up Bobby Miller and plug him into the big league bullpen, but you put him in the bullpen at AAA because he's got an ERA over 5.5 there. His last outing, I think he gave up like 10 earned runs or something ridiculous. It's done. That experiment is done. Bobby, it's time to move to the bullpen. Even if you have to go to your manager and be like, hey, I want to try out for the bullpen because that is your path forward to big league playing time. I would love to see it. And if it doesn't work out, maybe he's traded somewhere. Maybe he's released or non-tendered in the offseason and he finds a way to latch on with another ball club. But right now, as a starting pitcher, he's never going to get a chance at the big league level. Maybe there's a path forward in the bullpen, and the Dodgers need help. Dodgers need help there.
For sure. And you know what? I don't fault Bobby Miller for wanting, who knows if he even wants to go to the bullpen. That's not the point. I can tell you one thing, Aaron CIVALE doesn't want to go to the bullpen, but that's a whole other conversation and a whole other show. But the thing is, maybe if he realizes that's probably my best bet of getting back to the big leagues and having some sort of longevity there, I have no problem with that. Ask Kenley Jansen. He was a catcher. And now he's one of the greatest closers of all time. I mean, ask these guys that are asked to change positions. I mean, and look at, again, whatever. I'm not comparing Mookie Betts to Bobby Miller, but look at Mookie, who was like, Mookie didn't have to say he was going to go into the infield, even though he came up as an infielder and then went to the outfield and then came back in. I mean, maybe this is a way to get Bobby Miller out of in between his ears.
Yeah.
And he has good stuff
bullpen,
for a very short amount of time. That's what you need in the bullpen.
And you just need 2 pitches. That's it. He has too many pitches, and none of them are exceptional. We were talking about this, my buddy Jeff Snyder and I were talking about this last week or something like that. But back in the day, maybe 3-4 years ago, Bobby Miller's scouting report from Baseball America, I think it was Baseball America, was like, yeah, he has a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but his fastball is probably like it's like his 4th best pitch. It's not the pitch he needs to be relying on. Kenley, you mentioned Kenley Jansen. He made a career out of that cutter. Mariano Rivera made a career out of that cutter. Bobby's got a nasty changeup. You know who made a career out of a changeup is somebody by the name of Trevor Hoffman. I'm just saying, if you eliminate a lot of the factors, like you're saying, between the ears, if you eliminate a lot of the factors for Bobby, tell him go out there, just absolutely let it shove for one inning. Right. He could help his team.
Every single pitch, throw it up, whatever the high, whatever his high velo is on whatever pitch it is, throw it as hard as you can. Please pray to God he locates it. But if he only has to deal with 3 or 4 batters versus, and that's assuming obviously that he doesn't have traffic on the bases and all those things, but versus like an expectation of hopefully going 5 or 6 innings, I think that might be, again, and these are all conversations I'm sure the Dodgers have had. I'm sure we're not the first ones saying this, but I think it might be, it's an experiment, Clint, that I am willing to entertain. Much more coming up on Dodgers territory after a quick word from our friends at Foul Territory. Or at Chubby's, which thank you so much for being a part of our program here. We appreciate you. I'm just laughing at Scott talking about it, or if I'm laughing more at the Nostradumbass front end that you have created, which is amazing. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about trade deadline, which I understand it's only June 12th, guys, but Clint had a good thought about just talking about what this team possibly needs at the trade deadline. As we look at the numbers, it's 41-28. They're 13 games over 500. So many teams would love to be where this club is. But I tell you what, did not think this, but well, actually, we kind of did talk about it. The NL West is the closest division of all of the divisions in terms of teams flip-flopping, right?
Yeah.
Just a half-game lead over San Francisco Clint in the National League West. They start a series with the Gigantes tomorrow. So if you were to wave your magic wand, Clint Pasillas, what are the Dodgers' needs right now?
Yeah, listen, I'm looking forward here to some, I'm calling it way too early trade deadline talk. And, well, after our first segment here on the show, you would assume they need a starting pitcher because they're taking their best reliever out of the bullpen. They need a bullpen arm because they're taking their best reliever out of the bullpen. And you would wonder if they also need to add a bat because we're still not seeing all that much consistently out of Michael Conforto. Miguel Rojas is having a pretty down year if you're looking at the bench. So there are some trade needs, but of course, as we painfully know, there's a lot of pieces on the injured list. So the question is, can they hold serve until a lot of these arms come back? On the way back, you do have these arms coming back. Really, all right, so of all the people that are on the IL right now, I would say there's 5 that are not coming back. Maybe there's a chance Kyle Hurt and River Ryan can make their way back this year. We know Stone is out. He wants to try to come back, but Stone is out. He had shoulder surgery. He's done. Evan Phillips just had the Tommy John a little bit ago. He's done. But Sheehan should be coming back very soon. We got Blake Snell, Glasnow, Roki Sasaki. We know Ohtani could be coming back sooner rather than later. Gonsolin, you don't know really where he's going to factor into everything, but from what we're understanding, he's not done for the season. Then you got relievers, Edgardo Henriquez, of course, Bruce Dark Gratterall, Luis Garcia. I should have also put Blake Snell, what's his name, Blake Trinan on that list as well. But those are all dudes that are coming back. It's like, can they hold serve and wait for these pieces to come back? Because I think they can get away without adding offense, but they need pitching. And I think we're going to learn a lot over the next 7 days about what they're going to do. Giants 3, 4 more with the Padres before.
I mean, this next week is huge. Starting tomorrow, you can really create some distance against these teams that we're going to see over the next week. But there is a thing too. Let's say everybody comes back. Let's say that we snap our fingers and we got them all back. It doesn't mean they're going to be effective, right? It doesn't mean that they're going to be immediately able to shake off all of the rust and eat up massive innings and all of the things. I think Snell is probably, as far as the starters are concerned, I have not heard a ton about Roki Sasaki, and that's on me for not digging in and trying to find out a little bit more information, but I've not heard a ton about his return. So I got to figure that out. But, even if Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow and Roki Sasaki and let's say Shohei Ohtani gets one start before the All-Star break, which I think is stupid, what are the realistic expectations of these guys in terms of effectiveness, in terms of build-up, in terms of being able to go deep into ball games? Because I don't care how many simulated games you throw, it is not the same as a real life game experience. And I see some folks in our chat, and we always appreciate you guys being a part of the program. Thank you so much. Honeywell, okay, he's a bullpen guy. He's not a starter. Trade for Buehler. I don't know if you guys have noticed, and I love Walker. He's not having a great year.
So
I don't know that that's it. Joe Kelly for the bullpen. I don't know. I mean, Joe Kelly, I don't know. I mean, he's probably still working out. I know he got banned from coaching Little League because of a hat that he wore. I mean, Joe Kelly's doing Joe Kelly things, and there's what about, so I had this conversation with Ken Rosenthal today on Fair Territory on his show. And I don't know if you guys have heard, probably not, because you don't need to be Brewers fans, and that's fine. But Aaron Savali has requested a trade because the Brewers are calling up their top prospect, and he's immediately being slid into the starting rotation. And the Brewers are probably the only of the 30 teams that have a starting pitching surplus, right? So Aaron Savali, who is going into his free agency after this season, is being moved to the bullpen. He's like, not so fast. I am a starter. This reminds me of Alex Wood. I am a starter, and I am not going to the bullpen because I am a free agent, and I need to be going into my free agent year as a starter. Why not? It's an $8 million price tag. Why not sign Aaron Savali?
Swinging a trade for Savali, I would say this is where we get back to the whole concept, the whole idea of holding serve. Like, I take Blake Snell over Aaron Civale. I'd take Tyler
sure.
Glasnow over
Sure.
Civale. And ultimately, those guys would kind of usurp him in the starting rotation if everybody is healthy and throwing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to use big words. They would get his job. So he would end up in the bullpen, likely end up in the bullpen or some sort of, Alex Wood long relief role if he were to become a Dodger. Yeah, he could be the next Ryan Yarbrough. Like, you're here for now. You're here for a good time, not a long time.
Not a long time. And listen.
And if he doesn't want to be in the bullpen, like, that would be his future as a Los Angeles Dodger, because they're going to plug.
Is it though? Is it his future?
This is assuming,
I'm not saying
everybody's
he's going to sign a long-term deal with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I'm saying maybe he comes over as an early season rental before the trade deadline. He wants to be a starter. Maybe they can work a negotiation with the Brewers that their Dodgers are not going to take on the full $8 million deal. The Brewers want to trade him. He wants to be traded. So you already have that freaking figure of it's probably going to be a distraction. He's super pissed that this young prospect is coming up and taking his job. I'm just saying the guy has starter stuff. We need starters. They
need starters right now, but in a month and a half, maybe they don't, because
but maybe they do.
Yeah. That, again, this is where it's an absolutely awful job that Andrew Friedman and Brandon Gomes both have in trying to navigate this and make that decision and make that call. Plus, let's throw